is the SMEs. It belongs to the SMEs to hear their stories, their challenges, and what they've been going through, and then to give them solutions for that as well. So when you hear one man's story, others can learn from it. So this is why we're trying to find out solutions and how we can help the SME grow.
So last year I launched my perfume brand. That's one side of the brand. And then I was lucky to sell all the perfumes when we came here to the Export Commission exhibition. I was so excited, and then I decided to just restock the perfume in larger quantity. But unfortunately I got sick. So I ended up traveling for investigation and then medication, which did not happen. I ended up spending all the money. And then I came back. I went to other exhibitions. On our way back, we happened to be part of the... I'm sorry.
That's really what storytelling is all about. It can be emotional. Yeah. It touches the depth of our being. Yeah. And someone should be connecting with this at this time. Yeah.
So I'm sorry, I'll be crying, but I'll go on. So we happen to be the victims in the train. So all the money, they took it, they took my passport. But then everybody kept asking me, how are you going to go? And because I wanted to make money to go back for my medication, but I couldn't. So I knew I was going to make it. I knew something in me told me that I was going to make those products, and I'm going to be out there, and I'm going to sell them. And alhamdulillah, we made 1,000 perfumes, and they're here on display, and inshallah I'm going to sell them. Thank you.
All right. You see, this is the whole essence of this. Entrepreneurship is a journey. She can identify. She's already shedding a tear for her too. And I'm sure if you're one, you will also identify.
All of you are very important to us, all of you guys as well, for coming. Thank you so much. Your stories are powerful. From Maimuna, Adiba, you as well. For all those who have lost a loved one, may God give you the strength to continue to do what you're doing. And to all those who have gone through a traumatic experience, may He also give you that strength and that wisdom and the grace to continue doing what you're doing. My auntie, thank you so much. So let me just read it to you, okay? And it's from a book I got yesterday, and I thought it was very important because we at WenA, what we're trying to do, apart from empowering that women with coaching, mentorship, and access to finance, but we also try to take care of their emotions, because we know that one of the first things that gives in a woman's business is her emotions. That's what usually, once she's down, everything around her is down. And that business, as my sister said here, is very important. So it's from a book I got called Entering Her Vortex. It's a healing the masculine, feminine dynamic in relationships using the laws of divine magnetism. So it says, tapping into your divine feminine. As a woman, you simply cannot continue blaming the world for putting you into a hyper masculine state. It is your responsibility to learn how to tap back into your divine feminine state with or without a man present. A man embodying his divine masculine energy will help polarize you into the divine feminine state. But your ability to tap into your feminine power is not exclusively reliant on this dynamic. That power is already within you.
So I used to work 1 week on, 1 week off, and I did that for 2 years before I finally left my job, my 9-to-5 job, to pursue my career in 2016 full-time. Prior to that, while I was still working, I was selling skincare products, because already people used to ask me, what do you use for your skin? I went on doing my research, products that were good for people, and I started selling those products.
Then my husband now advised me, these spices that you are doing, instead of you doing zobo, and people will be doing salam alaikum, I need zobo 100 naira, this 100 naira, please go for spices business.
But after my youth service, I got back to Zaria, and before then I started thinking, what can I do? But for me it was, how can they bridge the gap? Because back then in Zaria, in Kaduna, tomatoes go as low as 400 naira. Then when you get to Oka, Anambra State, then in school, it's very, the prices is something else. So of course, as a young girl, I didn't know what to do, but I feel something has to be done. How can they bridge the gap? So after my youth service in 2016, there's a place in Zaria, they call it Kaswan Tomato. So I just bought a basket. So in my dad's house, I just sliced it, and what I did was just sun dry, because I didn't have a hand holding, no even basic knowledge around entrepreneurship. But for me, it was, how can this be bridged somehow? So and I did that. My dad was upset with me that very evening, I won't forget, and he was like, what's wrong with you? Why you littered my compound with tomatoes? I said, no, this is what I want to do.
I think the important thing that I'm coming away with is the need to hand-hold SMEs, to do a bit more of hand-holding, to do a bit more of mentoring, to provide mentoring and hand-holding opportunities for SMEs to thrive. So here's what we've decided to do. In 2023, we're hosting the first ever Made in Africa fair in Canada. And we'll be working with WenA to prepare their members, those who are with them, to meet standards, to see where they can strike deals, where they can begin to expand their businesses. So we'll work with them closely starting January 2023 on the different sectors where they have members, so that we can have those who would be able to get into the Canadian market, not just sell like they've gone to do some fair, but are able to establish links for sustainable business. I think that's one of the things we'll do. So that gives us the opportunity to properly handhold, mentor, and take them through the different things that they need to be taken through to meet those grades and those standards and access those markets.
So I like to say that the reason why you have to also look at your mental fitness, and a lot of people don't look at this, it's a very important conversation. I don't know how many of you know what hypomania is. When you say somebody is hypomanic, it means the person has a lot of energy, does one activity all over again, has little sleep, very, very, very anxious, because they want their business to succeed. And I can tell everybody here is hypomanic in one way or the other. And, you may not understand that it's also a mental condition until someone realizes that you're going, overdrive and says you need to slow down. And most times, the people you tell you need to slow down tell you, no, there is no time. I'm young now. This is the time to do it. I can't do it when I'm in my 50s or my 60s. Please just let me. There's money to be made out there. And so you get that feedback and you're like, okay, perhaps experiences will teach you. But it's always very important to know what your boundaries are and know what your mental health is like. And most of us do not really understand our mental fitnesses. And why I say that is that when you think about the general environment for the average young person, even the person who operates a POS is an entrepreneur. And you may not, he might not come out and say, I'm a banker, but he handles finance, he handles other people's money, and he expects results and profit at the end of the day. So he's thinking of how he's going to strategically position his POS, have more customers at the point where he's fixated, have more people withdraw money in lump sum. And that mental engagement every day builds anxiety.
This grant that you are saying is mainly agro-processing. There's a department in my agency that is called Agro-Business Development Department. What they do is they develop small businesses, agro-processing. If you come to my department, I will, not even her, everyone that is here, I will make sure that I link you up with the appropriate unit for you to do the necessary things that is needed. That is for
That deserves a round of applause.
During events, she calls me. Although I still work for her, but then I'm still doing my own business at the event. So it is a collaboration between two of us. And then in 2016, I went back to England to do my ACCA. And I came back 2017. Although when I was doing my ACCA, I was still baking in Birmingham. I've managed to find clients. So I was still baking there. I came back in 2017. Now it was time to serve. But within that period, I was still working for Miss Tola. I was still doing my business. But the funny thing is, my dad was never really in support. If I had a wedding cake to do, he would say, when you go out, if they call who bakes the cake, don't go out. Oh, you're an accountant. This one is just it's just a hobby. Tell people you're a hobby. His friends will come. They'll be like, oh no, this is just a hobby he's doing. It's not really this. And his friends were like, but he seems to be comfortable. He seems to be making money. Why don't you just let him? He was like, no, what does he know? The same experience with your dad. Like, he just couldn't understand why a chartered accountant would be comfortable baking.
It was that bad that I was going through a very depressing moment in my life. When I mean depressing, I had my worst moment. The moment that if it's another person, the closest thing would be a canal or a river or your quick sniper. But I channel my energy towards production. One of my friends came to my house one Saturday, met me breaking coconuts. She practically told me, if this is road to success, I don't envy you. And she said, God will not let her see herself going through this amount of stress to make it. 2 weeks ago, she was in my factory. From the entrance, she saw a heap of plenty coconut shell. And the next thing she said is, play, this thing don't become big thing. I said, now you think say no be means of survival.
I was still working at the airport as a customer service manager at the executive lounge at the airport. And I told my boss that I've started a spa, a mobile spa, and he was very encouraging. He had my company name posted on the partnership where you have a display, where we had displays of all our partnership. And I was very, 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 very pleased and humbled about his encouragement. And I started telling clients, then I run a mobile spa. We can offer facials, massages, body treatment. And that's how I started telling people, and people were inviting me, okay, can I have a treatment? So I used to work 1 week on, 1 week off. And I did that for 2 years before I finally left my job, my 9-to-5 job.
My name is myriad. I am the CEO of World Empire. We are a fish farming and processing company, but we major more in fish processing. We produce locally and international. We also export fish. But before we start, it wasn't funny. I grew up, my mother was farming fish, and I noticed that she wasn't doing the modern way of preserving the fish. And aside that, most times we could go to Malen Yusu, Malen Chindo, and buy a carton of fish. And when you bring it back home, you find out that the ones with maggot are the ones that will keep under for you. You can't use the fish. And at the end of the day, half of your carton is in the dustbin, and you're just using little to cook food. And I said, how can I make a difference? And this was what battered Mona World Empire. And today, we are smoking and exporting fish.
Hello, everyone. I'm Helen Zuragoje, and I'm the owner of Blue Velvet Marquee and Blue Velvet Decor. So I have been invited here to speak about my success story, but I feel like I have gained more. I feel like even with these people that are up and coming, I have taken a lot, to go back and to improve on myself. And also just from, she said everything in a nutshell. Burnout, my kind of business is very, very stressful, exhausting, tedious. I don't know how to explain to you because it has to do with the mind of a creative. I'm the creative, and although I have quite a number of people that work for me, I am the one that does the creative part of the business. So it is so exhausting to have to do that to a number of clients.
I think one of the things that we've been lacking in a lot of events is the truth, is experts and business people or MSMEs or SMEs coming to tell their truth. So everybody comes, packages themselves as doing really great, doing wonderful things, and the reality of the businesses, the hurts, the pains, the things that go in the back are not shared. Today we got to see those stories. We got to see successes, we got to see challenges, we got to see failures and how people learn to fail forward.